You're watching the Tesla Life. Where'd I put my car key? With your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 318. Here we are, the 2nd of August, 2023, and Casey has misplaced his card somewhere. He's got to find his card. I'm glad he found it right at the end.
There's a joke about the two panel startup.
And that, of course, is Mr. Casey Green joining us from the East Coast Central area. How are you today, sir?
I'm a little better today. It wasn't 90 degrees, so that helped.
That's a plus.
90 degrees, Fred. Yeah.
Yep. That is good. Good to have nicer weather. You get a lot of humidity where you are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the rule.
Yeah, exactly. That's not fun, especially when the humidity rolls in and stays like for a week. No fun at all. But
that's right.
Hopefully we get some breaks in that as we've gotten this summer so far. Knock on wood. So a shout out to Logan, Anders, and Fred who have joined us in the chat room already. And if you haven't already, please say hello. Let us know where you're from in the chat. Say hello, and we appreciate you joining us. Patrick is on assignment, so hopefully he shows up partway through this broadcast. But he is indisposed at the moment. But we'll see if he can join us as we roll through tonight's episode. And as you can see from our page, this tonight's episode is going to be a lot to do with charging. A lot of stuff going on. There he is.
Hello.
Patrick joins us. Welcome, sir. How are you today?
Yes. Hello, Tesla lifers, Tesla Nation. What's up?
I was just letting people know that you were on assignment, so I hope you got the assignment done.
I did. Yes. I've got a few things to share. If you haven't started the news yet, if I could jump in. All right. Okay. So it's appropriate that this show is called The Tesla Life because I've had a lot going on in my Tesla life this week. 3 things to share. Solar panels. Regular lifers will know that we needed a new roof installed. And to do that, we had to have our solar panels removed. And the reinstallation is scheduled for about 9 days from now. And I got a call yesterday and they said, hey, we have an opening. Your job is 1 day. We can squeeze it in tomorrow, which would be today. And I said, great. That sounds wonderful. Our house is getting painted this week, so you'll have to be okay working around the painting crew. And they said, that's a no-go. That's not possible.
Oh.
They can't have anyone near the house while they're on the roof. So I missed out on the early reinstall opportunity, but that's okay. We're on the schedule, coming soon. So we have 4 kilowatts up there now. That's not Tesla, and we'll get the Tesla 8.3 up there soon. So I'll be even more solar powered. Not next week, but a couple days after the next show. All right, so that was 1. 2, I sold my Model X. I'm sad to see it go. It's been a great car. Yeah, I know.
The studio audience is shocked.
Yes, they are. Yes, as they should be. That in 2016, when I got it, it totally changed my view on what an EV could be. And you have to remember that I'd been driving EVs for 10 years before getting that car in 2016. So this is when I became a Tesla investor and a Tesla fan, because it was obvious to me that they got it. They knew what was up. Everyone else at that time was making short-range compliance cars, not Tesla. Tesla was trying to make the best vehicle they possibly could. So it was a great 7 years with that X, and I hope the next owner that gets it loves it as much as I did. But the reason I sold it is on to number 3. we're getting a Model Y, and it's scheduled for pickup on Saturday. Yay! So Casey, you talked about how when you order a Tesla, you better get your finances ready. And why was I late for the show? Because I was running around picking up checks and depositing checks, trying to get my finances ready. And so I think I ordered it Friday, and then I sold some stocks on Monday to pay for it. And well, stocks don't clear that fast. They have to settle and special. Right. And so they were supposed to settle today, which is 2 business days later, but they haven't yet. It's not going to be until tomorrow. And then I have to transfer it. And so I may or may not get it in time for Saturday delivery. And so that's why I had to get the check for the X and deposit it and do all this. And so I'm juggling money to try to make this happen.
Yeah.
Because
you're going to have a lot of wire transfer fees this week.
Yeah, so far I don't have any, but yes, that is probably going to be the solution, is a wire transfer, so that it happens immediately instead of going through ACH, which is free but takes 2 or 3 days to settle. Because the other thing we talked about here is I'm going to do the FSD transfer. So we're moving the FSD from our 3 to the Y. And if I end up not taking delivery of the Y, but I've already transferred, I would lose FSD completely.
Yes.
So that would be a $15,000 disappointment. So I got to get my ducks in a row. I got to get my finances ready. Or maybe, I haven't asked yet, maybe they will allow me to bump my delivery to Monday or Tuesday.
Be careful with that.
Exactly. I have to be careful with that, because
not so nice with that lately. And with your FSD hanging in the balance.
Exactly.
In fact, they may call you up early, and then you need to be ready to just go show up. And I hate that they do it that way.
Yes. In fact, I got that call today, or actually it was a text. So when earlier in the week on Tuesday, I got the VIN number, and that's when I was like, oh, I better really rush all this stuff. Because like I said, I started it on Monday, but I thought, I'm starting it so early, it doesn't matter. You have to think about, when I ordered my Model X, I had to wait 9 months to get it. When I ordered the Model 3, I had to wait over a year to get it. So ordering something on Friday and getting it next week was a total shock. Right. That is not the Tesla I'm used to. And,
right. For me, it was 3 years and 30 minutes for the 3. The S was used, so it doesn't count. And the X, I ordered it sometime in July, and it was ready in August, but there was Hurricane Flo, so we didn't pick it up till September.
Right. Yeah. Maybe a hurricane will sweep through on Saturday and delay my.
Again, you don't want to change.
You don't want to wish that. No.
No, you're right. I'm kidding. Right. So yeah, I have to make sure I don't screw this up, so that I don't end up losing FSD in this game, and So yeah, I'll probably be doing some wire transfers to get the money on time, just to make sure. That's anyway. So that's what's going on in my Tesla life. Quite a busy week.
Yeah. You got enough going on for all 3 of us, for sure. So
lucky I had the week off of work, because I don't know how I would have gotten any work done, because I've been so busy with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new vehicle. What color did you order?
Midnight silver metallic, the free color. Yes, got the free color. Yeah,
exactly.
There's lots of great things to spend money on, and paint's not one that I care about that much. I'd rather
white or black interior.
White interior. So that's one where I do. Yeah. So we got the white interior with the 3. I wanted to get the white interior with the X, and my wife was like, "No, white interior. Are you crazy?" And so I ordered the tan interior, which was an option back then. And then when it came to the 3, that was her car, and so she picked out the colors, and she got the white seats, and I'm like, what? When I wanted white, you were like, no. But you want it for yourself, you pick white,
right?
And then
I find personally that I think that the white is a little more durable. It may not be as color fast as black, but it feels like it holds up better. And you see a lot less of those pictures of people with like jerry curl and then the bubble, or sunscreen and the bubble.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So since the white interior has held up so well in our 3, we have no problem getting it again in the Y. And
that's not to say that white's not color fast. You just wipe it once a month with a baby wipe. You're good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Just that black is by its nature more color fast.
So tune in next week, and we'll see if Patrick's story has a happy ending as it approaches delivery. So
hopefully,
we're hoping for you. We're hoping for you.
Well, you remember Elon said that the salespeople get paid in smiles, or get paid by the number of smiles that the customers leave with.
Yeah, if I say, hey, can I pick this up on Monday, and they say no, we sold it. So that would really be disappointing.
Yeah,
and you have no recourse based on that document that I saw.
Right.
Which version did they give you of the document?
The same. I can pull it up, but it says they can change the terms at any time. It says if I refuse delivery for any reason, I've lost FSD. I mean, they're definitely. It was written by a lawyer to put everything in their court. I don't think that is great customer service or the way to treat your customers. That said, I'm doing it anyway. Yeah. What happened to, Tesla tries to do the right thing and tries to make you a happy customer and win your loyalty, not try to screw you over for a few pennies. I don't know. It's oh well. I think they could do a better job, but I'm still going to take advantage of it.
Right. But what I was getting at was, does yours have the clause about how that's just a gift, or does yours not have that clause where it sticks with the car like a normal FSD?
I will double check that. So yeah, there was that clause if it transfers for any reason that it doesn't go with the vehicle, and I'll double check if that's in there. I'm not too worried about it. We plan on keeping this car for 10 plus years, so. And I got FSD at a great deal on the 3, which is why I want to transfer it. It was we'd ordered the car with enhanced autopilot, and then they had an offer that you could upgrade to FSD for only $2,000 a couple months later. So so I was like, $2,000. Yeah, sign me up twice.
On my window sticker the other day, and it's in the closet right now, and it was $5,000 for EAP and $3,000 for autopilot or for FSD. And then for a while, Elon said it was only going up, and it went down. And then after that, EAP went away, and FSD just went up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was $15,000.
Right. Their pricing has been. This is the same thing they do with their vehicles, right? They're always looking at the numbers, and they're always making adjustments. They're as they add features, they can charge more. So it's that's why. Our constant saying on the show is if you see something you like, don't hesitate, get it, which is why even though Project Juniper is going to be coming and there might be a different version of the Y in the I don't know how long, 2 months, 5 months, next year, whenever. This one is good and I like it and I like what I'm getting, so I'm not hesitating.
Well, you own the other one for 7 years, so it's obviously a testament that as soon as an offer came in that you couldn't refuse, you were jumping back into another Tesla. So
exactly.
Obviously it makes a lot of sense. I now have a 5-year-old Model 3 that I have no need to move on at all. I'm just going to hold on to it for a long period of time. So, and you've already indicated that you want to go a decade if you can with the new Model Y. So it'll be interesting to see, as Casey will be the next guy that will probably move a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. The thing I'm really looking forward to is the X had AP1. It did not have the all-around cameras. And so now we'll have 2 cars that'll be FSD capable. And so if I want to rebuy it or do the month-to-month on the 3, if we're going on some road trip and for whatever reason not taking the Y, I have that as an option.
Yeah.
So you're not one of the 12% of people who won't buy your car again because of Elon Musk himself.
That's right. Yeah, I don't check with Jeff how I feel about Jeff Bezos before I shop at Amazon.
Right. Exactly.
There are certainly things Musk does that I think are ridiculous, and I've talked about it on the show, how he was a COVID-idiot. I don't approve of a lot of his shenanigans, but that is not a factor at all. I look at value for money for the product, and if it meets my needs and the product matches my values, which, like I said, I've been driving electric since 2007, actually. This is the right EV for me. Yeah,
at this point, if he doesn't do something that you disapprove of, then you're a fanatic.
Yes, it's very unlikely that you agree with everything he's ever said. Yeah.
And one other thing that you mentioned there, I'm curious how they're going to handle the FSD subscription as they start to come out with more capabilities. Because as we've seen with Starlink and some of their other stuff, they don't seem to do you've been grandfathered. They'll grandfather your clauses, like, hey, you still have portability, but they will not grandfather your price. It's like, bam, here's the new price. Oh, ouch.
Right. Yeah. As some of the solar roof folks found out when they went to the new complex roof pricing, it's just going to be 80,000 more. What? Some people were so much so that there was a lawsuit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you got to keep obviously you're doing value for money. What you want to do is just monitor things, understand what things cost, and weigh it based on your personal situation and what you require out of the deal. And that's nothing new for everybody in any aspect of purchasing something or thinking about purchasing something. So
that's on this though, is that there can be so many changes throughout the year and so many different programs. It's not like, oh, it's Toyota-thon. Oh, okay, they're gonna be $500 off. Let's do this now. It's like, oh my goodness. They're about to get rid of the lumbar support. Let me buy this car before they get rid of my button. Actually,
it becomes
gone, and you didn't have a choice. But
it becomes a Tesla communication thing that we can see that they're not aces at communicating to the clients. In fact, there's a lot to be desired from that, but they're starting to feel their way through. And of course, we as consumers looking at them from the outside are going, well, Tesla operates differently. I'm going to have to operate differently if I want a Tesla. I'm going to have to operate in a different way because they are not. It's truck month this month, and I can go buy it. And no, that's not going to be the case with Tesla. The Cybertruck's going to roll out. They're going to make a pricing change the next month if they notice that sales are up or down or in between. It's something that they're going to react to, and then you as a consumer have to react as well. So
it could be out for a quarter before we even know what the price on the thing is.
Yeah. Do you think that the updated Y and 3 that are coming, Highlander and Juniper, are going to be stockless?
Yes,
I think they are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's a good thing I got it now because I think my wife.
Look at how much a stock costs at the dealer level is about $30 to $80, depending on how tech heavy it is. And then imagine what that costs at the manufacturer level times how many did they do last quarter? 200,000.
Right. So yeah, if they're going to be doing $2 million a year, that adds up. So so I'm glad I got it now because I think my wife would hate stockless. I think I would get used to it, but I think she would just be like, no, this sucks.
Yeah,
and then I wonder.
I have trouble with the swiping. I'm like,
yeah,
it looks easy enough, but maybe it's
I'm sure it takes some getting used to, but and it all depends on how flexible and adaptable you are to that kind of stuff. So like with the yoke, eventually they offered the wheel. I wonder if it'll be the same thing with stock.
They didn't just offer it. Like they offered it and then they switched to the wheel. So like if you were waiting on it, now you got to pay extra for the yoke.
Right. So I wonder
I bet it will not be an option. Just like in the S, there's no option for the stock. So
that's true.
I can't see them making it an option in the 3 if Highland does not come with it.
Yeah, I don't get why they even bothered with the wheel other than to shut people up, because it doesn't have any of the stuff people wanted the wheel for. There's no stocks, there's no gear shifter. It's just now it's even harder to figure out where you are because now you don't have half the wheel just not there so you can center it. You got to now look at it or feel it just right to get the horn and get the again, on the horn you can smash the whole side, it'd be fine. But if you wanted to delicately hit one button, you have to be aware of what's going on.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, so if people complain enough, they'll respond. Yeah, but it'll take a lot of complaints.
Yeah, I mean, look at all of our old steering wheel buttons, like our X's, for instance, and then older cars than that. They actually you could feel the difference between all of the buttons because they had either little dimples or they were shaped differently or they had different textures.
Yeah,
they could do that. They just have chosen not to.
Well, that was a detour of 20 minutes. Let's start rolling into some news.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. It's relevant news. Good to hear. Casey's got her first story about V4 charging, and Tesla has some, I guess, given us some information about it.
Yeah, so we found this one over at Electrek, and they claim in the headline, Tesla has finally confirmed the V4 Supercharger has 350 kilowatts output. And before the show, I was talking with Mark, and I contend that that this site that they have requested the permits for has a 350 kilowatt output. Remember when the Cybertruck came out, they told us 1,000 amps at 1,000 volts, so mega charging. And that's why I'm saying that this site, or at least this iteration of this site, is 350 kilowatts, which is more than any Tesla on the road can use today.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most that any other non-Tesla can use today as well, if the voltage is right. So why waste the money installing more capability before you've got the Cybertruck on the road, or before anybody else can actually use it? Doesn't seem like
right. You can do some future proofing if you knew things were coming. But where's this one going?
Europe.
Oh yeah,
right. Which is not a Cybertruck market.
Right.
So having it at the level that some of the 800 volt systems use now, if they're going to open it up to non-Teslas, makes sense. But going beyond that doesn't.
Yeah, so this will have CCS2 because it's in Europe, and it'll have an on-screen, or a screen with a on-screen payment terminal as well, kind of in the thin edge, right
under the handle.
Yeah, under the handle.
Yeah, so it's this is the I think there's 5 V4 chargers in Europe that are operational. So it'll be interesting to see if when the first North American will show up, because man, we are getting awfully close to that Cybertruck coming out, and I am kind of surprised they haven't started to do the rollout. Obviously, they might have old inventory of the V3s. They want to use those up.
On that one. So you remember that the 500 volt handle and the 1,000 volt handle are different.
Yep.
And if they are planning to have this out in time for Cybertruck, maybe the 1,000 volt handle isn't ready yet, or maybe they don't have enough supply of them, or whatever. Maybe that is why we don't see the US V4s hitting the ground yet. Because if you got to go and change all the handles out right away,
that'd be a big waste of time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially if it's not compatible with the V3s, where you can just say, "Oh, these are spares now."
Yeah. But we're getting close. Obviously, a Cybertruck could be charged at a 250 terminal. That's not going to be any big deal. They can obviously do that, but there has been speculation, of course, that Tesla's going to up it for the Cybertruck, that it'll be able to take more than any other Tesla has been able to this point. Yeah. So
do you guys think it'll have the same flaw that Lucid and Hyundai do, where it's got a really crappy up converter, and like if you plug in, you get like 50 or 75 kilowatt instead of 150 or 250?
Absolutely not.
A 400 volt station.
I got to believe that they've seen the roadmap already of others, and would work so that type of problem doesn't happen for them.
So either a better up converter, or like the Hummer, where it just switches to a 400 volt pack, 2 400 volt packs.
Yeah,
right.
There's got to be some trick that they can make it work better than what the others have done.
Yeah, because it'd be a terrible experience to come in and then instead of charging for 15 minutes, you have to charge for an hour and 15 minutes, and then just get a 50% boost.
Yeah, that would not be good PR.
Right.
Especially
the trick that the Hummer does, I'm sure Tesla knows about that and has thought about that. There was an EV called the Twik, which is a 3-wheeler, and it sounds like you have a lisp when you say it. But their battery pack did the same thing, but you had to manually do it. So you had a different voltage for charging and a different one for operation, and it was by disconnecting some relays and putting them from series to parallel, and that's how you did charging on that thing. So you could do that with some relays, and obviously you wouldn't want to be doing it manually like you did on that little thing. I'm sure Tesla is smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah, and the last bit of news about that site is they're going to have a couple of 22 kilowatt chargers. So you're going to have basically 3-phase AC maxed out. But those aren't special.
Yeah. So we'll have to see when the first one hits North America. Would hope that it's going to be soon.
Right.
But maybe they roll the Cybertruck out first, and they just
they can do that too.
Or run at 250 for a while until they're completely set as to what they're going to do or how they're going to do the rollout.
how long was S out before Superchargers came out?
A while.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that long. I wonder if they'll do some unveiling at the Cybertruck handover. They also unveil some new charging capability.
Show us the map of the V4 connections.
Yeah, they've been stealth installing them or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they can because the Tesla army out there would have found it by now.
You're right. Yes, yes.
Not only is there a drone army, but there's a force on the ground to be reckoned with as well.
Right. So, if Tesla applies for any permit or trademark or even throw something in their software, everybody's looking. There's so many eyes on this company.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking on eyes on the company, we were talking about this before about Tribal Tesla, we called it, where Tesla had installed some service and sales locations with Native American reserve land. And this has happened again in Connecticut, one of the states that Tesla has been blocked from opening a sales service center. This Connecticut tribe has allowed Tesla to set up at casino land that they have. And they're going to open again without having a building to start with, but they'll be putting a building in after the fact. So, and as soon as they did this, the Dealer Association of Connecticut really had a conniption about how Tesla was skirting the law, and that
the great state of Connecticut, which is not
this was evasion, and this should not be allowed. And of course, the governor turned around and said, "Listen, the Native Americans have a right to pass laws on their tribal land as they see fit, and they are their own nation. And even though they do follow a lot of our rules and regulations, they're not required to, based on their deal that they have with the U.S. government." So, really tough beans to the Dealer Association. So,
right, that's why there are casinos in states that don't allow casinos. So, I'm not sure why the Dealership Association thinks that that they could stop dealerships on tribal lands. That's just ridiculous.
Daddy, and I want it now.
Yes, exactly. Spoiled entitled brats will continue to be spoiled entitled brats.
Yes. A couple of things I liked about this deal is, unlike the other ones that we've seen, they obviously they're doing the same thing where they're hiring local first, they're training the local people first. But one of the things I found was kind of interesting is the casino itself is actually also a sales center now. But not only is it a sales center, so while you're pulling the one on Bandit, you can say, I want that Tesla up there. You can use the casino bucks, like the the casino bucks, to buy the car. So you pull it and it says you win the jackpot. You're like, just give me the Tesla. I'm like,
awesome.
It just shows up on the slot machine, and you just press the button and it's yours. That's it.
Right. Yes, it spits out a little receipt. Take 2 Tesla for your car. You just won.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Next, it seems that I'll take this one. GM and 6 other legacy automakers have gotten together and have decided that they are going to create a new charging network of over 30,000 plugs in North America. And before I get really excited about this, of course, there's no plan. There's no schedule. There's not a lot of fanfare except, hey, we're going to do it.
There's not even a company name. Come on.
No company name, no map, no plan, no who. Like, this
is like someone said, they have an idea in a boardroom, and we've got to rush out of the boardroom and publicize this before we have anything in line to move forward with this.
There's a reason for this. Look how long it took this group to come up with J1772-2009 and both versions of CCS. This could be a while. So why not put the only good news, the only news you have out there?
Well, that's what they did, because there was obviously no other plan to this except let's get the news out that we're doing something. We are doing it now. And of course, it's also good to hear in this is that, of course, they will be adopting the NACS technology as well. The NACS plug will be part of the plan. So if this network does come to fruition, at least they will be compatible with the Tesla NACS, which is good. Now, more charging is good. I don't besiege them for doing this. It's just that I would have liked a little bit more clarity on what this was going to entail, how this was going to roll out, what the schedule was. But at this point, things are just kind of loose and up in the air.
Right. This is more of a press release than a story. The one thing that I need to say, though, is Nissan Leaf and Mitsubishi Outlander need not apply. No Chatamo.
Right. No Chatamo. Yeah, so talk is cheap and press releases are even cheaper. I wonder how much of this is just an effort to try to suck up government funds for infrastructure.
Bingo.
And that's probably also why it was dual-headed, is that they can guarantee they'll get the U.S. money, and then they can also qualify in Washington State, Kentucky, and Texas.
Right, where NACS is required. Right. And I'm sure that they all, well, at least,
and like at least one of their members is using NACS.
Exactly. Yes, at least one of their members has plans to use NACS in 2025. So
and
they're
talking to Tesla about using NACS.
Right. Yeah. The way that the press release was worded, at least the early version that I saw, it said CCS and some NACS, and I'm like, well, that's got to be flipped. If you're by the time they build this out, it's going to be majority NACS. So why would you install it for yesterday's cars when you're not going to have it for 5 years?
Oh, but we're gonna beat Tesla. We're gonna have a 700 horsepower car in 2028, despite the fact that now they've come out with a 1,000 horsepower car right after we made the announcement.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure some of our members who've also been to EVs a long time remember in 2018, 2019, when they were all making these great pronouncements about what's going to happen in 2021. And most of them were vaporware. So, yeah, talk is cheap.
And then when 2021 showed up, Patrick, they moved it to 2023.
Yes.
And now that 2023 is here, it seems to have been moved to 2025. It's funny how that works.
Well, it's kind of like with that solid state battery and all this mumbo jumbo. They keep promising us. Oh, shoot! It's been 5 years. Somebody just reminded us. Oh, it's gonna be 5 more years. Yeah, 5 more years.
Just 5 more.
700 miles and 15-minute recharge. Yeah, we promise you. Okay.
And over 1 billion cycles. Yes, indeed.
Right. The hydrogen economy has been just around the corner.
Exactly.
Just like when Elon tells us FSD will be ready this year. It's like, okay, we hope it is, but I'm not gonna.
Yes. Tesla's not immune to stretched out timelines. I'm not. Yes.
Well, I was just giving them an exact something you can compare it to. It was like the same way Elon said FSD. That's how Toyota's been for the last 20 years with this magic battery, and GM and BMW have been for the last 50 years with hydrogen. Some things you just can't believe them on.
Right.
Next, we got a story that Casey's got for us about a new megacharger somewhere in the world.
So I've told you guys about mobile superchargers on a couple of occasions, but either the full post or the urban posts. How about I tell you about a mobile semi-charger?
What?
AKA megacharger. Yeah. So over in I think it's Baker, right? Yeah, Baker. Yep. They had a pallet show up, and it looked like a regular V3 cabinet on it. And everybody's like, okay. And then as they take the cover off, there's a 6.5+ foot pedestal on the other side of it because it had the Tesla semi-charger on it. And this one is even lower power than the ones we saw at the Pepsi facilities, but it does have the same MCS2 connector on it. And our friend Kyle Connor went over and did a more thorough investigation into it, because while the other pictures we found on Twitter were nice, he understands the charging technology, and so he was able to give us an in-depth walkthrough rather than just pictures of the Transformers rating, which is nice to know, but we really want to know what the equipment is rated at, and he got that for us as well, and that's how we determined that the equipment can handle up to 600 kilowatts, but it looks like it's a 400 or 500 kilowatt install.
That is a beast. Look how big that thing is.
Yeah, MCS2. So just picture it as a triangle, and then you got MCS3. I'm curious how that retrofit is going to work on the semis.
Yeah, me too. We don't want to go through the same thing we just did with CCS versus NACS, and then have them both getting deployed, and then have some eventually. So wait, so if we have NACS, so then we could have the semi North American we could have snacks.
Snacks. So, this is the exact same situation that Tesla keeps running into. Their vehicle is ready before the standard is ready. So MCS3 was just a glimmer. There was nobody willing to make them the hardware, and so they could get MCS2 samples, and so that's what they did. And MCS1 was already done by the time they had started on the semi. And I'm just curious because once you get the 1,000 volt NACS connector, you've got megawatt charging there. Do they need the 2-3 megawatt chargers? If they don't, then why not keep some of that money in house? You got to pay extra for these outside charging connectors.
Yeah, it's always been a question as to what Tesla's going to do with the semi when they get the charging network up and going. Are they going to switch to a NACS plug and make it universal? That when that rig is like parked at somebody's house, they can even plug it into a 110 just to keep an HVAC unit running, or plug it into an L2 to get a little bit of a charge. That would be advantageous for anyone that owns the truck.
Yeah, exactly. You'll need an onboard charger for that to work. And MCS, none of the versions of MCS handle AC charging, which is why they are actually, just like Chatamo, a universal worldwide standard. Like, there's one plug. There's not a European plug and an American plug. It's just a plug. But that's because they don't do AC. So hopefully the semi has an AC charger on board, and this is just temporary. Because I mean, can you imagine being an owner operator and you have a nice like my 80 amp connector at home, and you can't use anything, not even the 110.
Right. Yeah, there was I really like the idea of having something that you could plug into just for cabin amenities, so you're not draining the traction pack to do that. Because you see that at sleeper spots today, right, where they plug in, they're going to so there's an Oregon company called Shore Power, and they they had these stations where you could actually get cool air pumped in, and you could plug in for power, so you didn't have to leave the diesel idling all night just to have amenities in your cab. So being able to plug in for that stuff, even if it requires, if you think about the cost of a semi truck, having a level 1-2 onboard charger is not that much. So I hope they do something. And obviously Tesla's not making sleeper cabs yet. And when they do, they'll have to worry about this a little more than they have so far.
On my Model S, the second charger was $5,000. That was retail installed. So I imagine that Tesla is now making them for a lot less, because the charger on my Model X is a 72 amp, and it is a lot more compact and in a terrible spot for labor reasons. But then you look at the Model 3s and the new non-legacy cars, they have even smaller chargers. So they should have the space, and it shouldn't be too expensive to throw that into the Tesla Semi, or at least, as Patrick said, at least the ones that have a sleeper cab.
Yeah,
or at least the owner operators. I mean,
and since we're already talking about the Semi, let's go to the main story today, and that, of course, is that Tesla has proposed to put in a 9-charger MegaCharger site between Central California and South Central Texas to connect the two states with 9 charger sites, not individual chargers, but actual sites where there be multiple chargers.
Yeah, and here our Department of Transportation refers to that as a charging corridor, which I kind of like that phrase, because it makes sense. You have to build a route. You can't just throw one here and throw one there. You have to think about how we get from A to B, especially when they're far apart.
We have a charging corridor here in South Carolina, and there's 0 chargers on it.
You can label something that don't make it true, buddy.
That's how to not build a charging corridor, Casey.
Yes, that's called a charging desert. That's what that's called.
But Tesla has requested $100 million of funds from federal and state agencies that have been offering these type of funds to build a trucking corridor. And they have put out the proposal to see if they can get these particular stations built. Now, I would think that Tesla could afford to build this themselves at any time. Yeah. But of course, what they're doing is they're following state and federal incentives that are trying to push the trucking industry in the electrification direction. So, of course, Tesla's chargers would be used by anybody that has an electric truck that is capable of charging in that way. But they've come out with, here's the places that we could set these up, approximately distance from each location. And of course, it's between Fremont and Austin as well. I don't know how much traffic Tesla is moving in that corridor themselves. I got a feeling there's some of it, but I can't believe there's an awful lot that is traveling that corridor. It's a long stretch to be moving required parts and such. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it would be, but I got to believe it's not a crucial part of their business.
How much of Model Y is not homegrown in Texas? So you've got the cells for anything that doesn't come from that cell plant. The drive motors are coming from Nevada. You got the computer boards coming back from Texas to Fremont for FSD and the MCUs.
Yeah, it makes sense to have a connection between Giga Austin and Fremont, because if one of them is out of something, the other one has it. You want to keep everything running as fast as you can, and that means sharing whatever is missing. And I want to go back to that map for a second. There's I've seen a couple other shows talking about this, and one of the things that they pointed out that I thought was pretty interesting was Laredo, Texas. It doesn't go to Austin directly. It goes to Laredo. Well, why? That's actually closer to the proposed Giga Mexico location, and it's also near Corpus Christi. And so it's nice and right in between those three important Tesla spots, Giga Mexico, Giga Austin, and Corpus Christi. So that allows them, if they have charging at those on site at those three places, then from there they could all get to either Fort Stockton or Laredo and go from there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So again, I mean, if Tesla's always thinking 2 moves ahead, right? At least, and so they were. That was it. Yeah. So they picked that spot on purpose. Right. Yes. Yeah. And then the other part of the proposal that I thought was interesting was they said that there would be 8 stations that work for Tesla semis, and there would be at least 4 stations for their competitors. So I wonder if that means it would be a different charging handle, or not dedicated, or I don't know how that. But that was an interesting part of the request.
What are they going to put there? CCS? Because none of their competitors are actually using MCS yet because it's not done.
Well, what is Freightliner and a couple of the other electric?
Freightliner, International, all of them are using CCS too, and they do it really slowly. Like the car starts faster than these trucks do, except that they don't have the same curve because their batteries are ginormous.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess if that's what they're using, that's what Tesla would install.
Yeah, it's like the industry did come up with a standard. It's whether or not they're going to follow it. But it's yeah, maybe they would put in just a couple of other stations at the same Tesla site as well. So maybe there'll be 6 megachargers, and beside it there'll be 3 CCS2.
No, it specifically said 8 for Tesla and 4 for their competitors.
Right.
So it was 12 at every one, and yeah, they had a specific number for non-Tesla semis in there.
You know what though? I wonder if this might mean that the semi manufacturer is about to announce they're part of the Supercharger coalition.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, that would make a whole lot more sense. Just we know Tesla's going to win the war, so let's just jump on early and say we'll use whatever you tell us, and that's what we'll put in. Because we don't want to.
I can see them using NACS. I can see them using CCS1, but I can't see any of them using MCS2 because they're all pushing for MCS3.
Right. Yeah. And my guess is that if, like you said, Tesla's, if they get this money, then it will include these stations for non-Tesla. If they don't, it won't, but it's going to get built anyway.
Yeah.
If they need it, they'll build it.
Yeah. And then the other interesting thing is they didn't say specifically that these would be built with maybe truck stops in mind. What about trucker amenities that they're going to need? Food and showers, convenience stores, that type of thing. We haven't heard anything about them teaming up with someone like a Love's or a Pilot or another one that's already out there that has some great locations for regular trucks. I'm wondering if there's going to be some collaboration in the future where they will install them on the same land as some of these trucking plazas.
They had announced previously some collaboration with some of those groups, but I think it'd be interesting to see a Tesla take on a trucker's version of Kettleman, like really clean showers, snacks.
Yeah. I wonder. We should look at this map and then plot out where the Flying J's and Loves and all these are, and see if any of them are close.
Oh well, yeah, they're definitely those locations are everywhere on interstates. Like if you notice, if you go for a drive, that in between cities, that's where they like to place them, just on the outskirts of cities because land is cheaper, and it's
getting in your way.
And it's easy for on-off access right off the interstates or freeways. It makes a lot of sense to have them in those areas. So, I got to believe that when they say like Laredo, they could mean just outside Laredo. It's not necessarily Laredo itself.
Like Tesla Charlotte isn't even in Charlotte. It's
exactly.
You don't want to be forcing people to make tight turns and things. You want to make it really easy, which means you need land, which means you got to go where it's cheaper.
Yep, absolutely.
No, but you still need power availability. So where's the nearest substation that's also outside of town? That's the spot to put it. Yes.
But of course, with Tesla is they also have the ability to bring in the batteries if the structure is not there immediately. Bringing in a solar array and a bunch of and drop off a mega pack or two might be the solution to get one of these places up and running immediately.
That does solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, exactly. Next, there's a city in California called Coachella City.
Coachella.
Which I have no idea where it is because, of course, I'm from Southern Ontario.
Famous for their big music festival.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Very good. Do you know if it's Central California?
I don't. All I know is it was referenced at the end of Black Panther.
Okay. All right. Coachella City Council has approved the purchase of a fleet of 17 Model Ys for changing their rideshare transformation to be more eco-wise. They've had a rideshare in the city now for a number of years, and allows residents to book a ride for a number of different options. But of course, to this point, they've been using gasoline vehicles. And they've decided that as those vehicles start to cycle out of the fleet, that they're going to replace them with Model Ys. So
I looked it up on the map, Mark. It's between LA and San Diego, and east of there near Joshua Tree National Park.
Okay. All right. And of course, they don't have a fantastic bus system in that county. So this supplements rides for people that are in more rural areas. It allows them to run out and pick out 3 people, bring them to a certain destination, as opposed to sending a larger bus that would not be filled to capacity and make any sense when it comes to the cost of running those buses. So this is a smaller rideshare program, has smaller vehicles, and can be more nimble as to where the vehicle goes to, drops off, and picks up. So that's great news for them, and we'll certainly, I'm sure they will be happy with the Model Y's spacious interior and ability, of course, to be emissions free as they drive their passengers around.
Yeah, I read this article when you shared it, and I was really happy to see this. So one of the primary intended users of this are migrant workers. And so if you don't live on the West Coast, you might not know, but seasonally, there's a lot of produce that needs to be harvested and picked. And so there are migrant workers that come up the West Coast, and they're only here temporarily, so you don't have a house and amenities and a car and all these things. And so serving that community is exactly what this is intended for. And I picked strawberries one summer in 7th grade, and it's a lot of work. So these are this is meant to help some hardworking folks, and I'm really happy to see this.
Very good, very good. Next, update to the Tesla referral program. If you own a Tesla, of course, you get a referral code that you can provide friends or neighbors or acquaintances if they have interest in getting a Tesla. But this update that just happened this week will allow people to provide someone a test drive. And you'll get credit for it with 100 points on the system. And it uses the same code that you have already, where you just provide it to someone. They click on the link that is provided, and they can book their own test drive and sign up for an appropriate location, a time, and schedule that in. If that person down the road actually decides to buy a Tesla, your name is still attached to it for that test drive, and you'll get benefit or credit for that vehicle sold, as well as the test drive. So it's nice that it holds on to that information and watches for the sale from that particular person.
Then they get whatever incentives that they get for using a code. So if they forget, it's already taken care of.
That's right.
Because sometimes Tesla will do that. Like, hey, if you use a code, you get free supercharging. You use a code, you get this.
Right. Yeah. And so if you're buying a Tesla, you should always use somebody's code. You can use your own, like I did when I just purchased this. But there are perks that come with it. Oh, I'm losing Casey.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear what you said.
On this program, you can't refer somebody who already has a Tesla, and you can't refer yourself for the test drive, but still do it for if you're doing it like Patrick did when you bought your own car. Still do it because that counts, but not for the test drive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be scheduling myself for a test drive every week. 100 points. 100 points. You again? Just give me the points and I'll leave.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not here to waste your time. I just want the points. Speaking of points, it looks like India is up in the points race for the next Gigafactory.
Oh, nice segue.
Tesla has met with more officials in India, and it looks like they're moving a little bit closer to possibly some sort of a deal for some sort of India Gigafactory. Another thing that came to light just today was that Tesla has started to lease some more office space in India. Which is another sign that they're planning on having more employees work for the company. So there could be some more management going on in India. And again, it seems to be that there is something up. And India seems to be at the head of the list after, of course, the announcement for Mexico some time ago. So we will see.
Yeah.
Next,
so if they want to have 50% growth every year, they're going to have to continue to open gigafactories or expand the ones they have. So I'm happy to see this, and I would. Back when they did Austin, they also did Berlin. So I wouldn't be surprised if India has they pick another. Well, I guess Mexico and India might be in a similar race. We can start those bets.
Yep.
Also, before this announcement was another announcement from India reminding everybody that Tesla is no exception for the tariffs. So full price. But that might
outside of India, I bet you guys can figure out what this vehicle has been designed to look like. So
Herbie.
That's right. Yeah. Herbie the Love Bug has made a new iteration as Herbie the Model Y. And this particular owner has decaled their white Model 3 and made Herbie pretty good facsimile of it, actually, with the numbers and the striping. It looks just like Herbie the Love Bug. So this Ontario owner was more than happy to share some photos recently on their Twitter feed and share it with us. So we thank them for that.
That is really cool. Cool. I can't wait to see the next movie, Herbie the Evolution.
And if you want to keep, that's right,
fossil fuel free. There we go.
If you want to keep up through the week of photos and things that are shared with us, please follow us on our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life, or of course our Facebook feed, The Tesla Life #1. And you can follow what happens between shows. And with that, on to our next story. And Patrick, do you know this story about this small Montana town? Do you seen this story through the week?
I have. I did hear about this. So there were some people from California that were going to an event where they were volunteering in a small town in Montana. And if you look at the charging map, Montana we were talking about charging deserts. It is a charging desert. And the driver was talking about how when they put in that destination, the car was warning them that they wouldn't make it. And they weren't worried because they're like, well, we have charging portable mobile chargers. We'll find someplace to plug in. And when they got to town, they did. They found an RV outlet and they plugged into it without permission. Well, that's a no-no as far as charging etiquette goes. You should always find out who owns that plug and ask nicely, offer to pay, offer to buy them a 6-pack or whatever is the right thing in that community. And, well, the local paper, I guess, doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So this was the front page, above the fold, news that some California Tesla is stealing electricity, and the owner.
Slow news day in Montana.
Yes, like every day, right? Really, come on, let's be honest. But so they saw this article in the paper. They did find out who owned it. They offered to pay them. And they ended up paying them $60 because that paid for that electricity plus the electricity for the event that they were there to volunteer for. So, and the owner got a good chuckle out of it, wasn't offended at or upset by them. And the article had some line in there. I normally, if I'm going to talk about something, I read it and take notes. I didn't do that this time because this might be the first time a Tesla has charged in this city at all,
right?
Which is cool that they're. It's not the right foot forward when you're being accused of stealing stuff. And like I said, I've been driving EVs for a long time, and so a lot of that meant guerrilla charging. As in, I was finding outlets wherever I could to get the juice I needed, but I was always asking permission. In fact, there was one spot at the store where I wanted to unplug their outside vending machine and plug in, and they wouldn't let me. And so I limped along, going on the shoulder of the freeway at like 35 miles an hour so I could make it to the next spot. I wouldn't recommend that either, but it's better than taking electricity without permission. That's just not right. So anyway, that was a fun story, I thought.
Absolutely. And I like the title of the article, which was Borrowed Volts.
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
It's kilowatt hours actually, but whatever.
Oh, well,
that's fine. Yeah.
Come on. Don't be that picky.
I'm pedantic. Sorry.
Next story, we've got an update on Project Highland. It was a model was spotted on the road. This time, the camouflage that's over the bumper was somewhat removed, and they were able to capture or see that there was indeed a camera at the front center of the bumper. So this is something that we've been questioning as time has gone along as to whether or not they were going to add that front camera, as they've done in the Semi, as is done in the Cybertruck. And we wonder if Patrick's new Model Y will have a camera or not.
I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not. But it is something that we were wondering when we saw the new hardware, when Hardware 4 started to roll out, we noticed that there were extra camera feed connectors that were not being used. So this could be one of those camera feeds being plugged in for the front bumper. So again, Project Highland has not been outlined as to what anything that it contains, but these are just people with their observation skills seeing this vehicle on the road and collecting some of this information for the Tesla crowd in mass. So we appreciate those people being attentive.
Yes, and so I think this means that it's going to have one of the features that I've been asking for a long time, and that's the bird's eye view. If you have a front bumper camera,
but the car can see everything around it.
Right. Yes. And once the car can see everything around it, it's not that hard. It's just a little bit of math to do the bird's eye view, and then make all that available to the person in the car, and maybe have a few less curb rash events.
Yeah, Teslas can not be known for having like scuffed up rims.
Yes, exactly.
Not that any of us have that, but man, you see it at the Superchargers.
Hey, I scuffed my rims when I first bought the car. I scuffed my first set of rims, I think, within 7 days.
Oh, ouch!
Ouch! You got to get on the Model S on the second day because, again, remember the Model S was the only thing out at the time. The Model X wasn't even out, and I found a spot, but it wasn't actually wide enough to hold a Model S. But it was an official Tesla destination charger.
Oops!
Not good. Not good.
It was not.
But yeah, I scuffed one of my rims, and man, I would beat myself up over that for a good 3 weeks after that happened.
You got to get at least through the first month.
You would think, but luckily I had bought a second set of rims, and the scratched up rim became part of the winter set. So that's how I got out of it.
That worked out.
Next, what do we got? Yes, Tesla completes its buyout of German wireless charging company Wiferion, which they have, of course, showed a photo in a past presentation, and they didn't talk anything about it. But this photo had a wall charging unit in a garage that looked a lot different, looked a lot longer, and there was a charging pad on the floor of the garage that the car was parked over. So speculation is abound that this new company that Tesla has acquired has something to do with wireless charging that Tesla has not really talked about, but they showed a photo of this at one of their presentations that was not elaborated on. So it is curious that this has happened. Maybe the company took a little bit longer to acquire than what they thought, and someone had it in the presentation deck and forgot it, that they didn't talk about it. They just skipped right over it. But we know there was no official comment on that photo, and now this wireless company has been acquired. So it'll be interesting to see if we get some further details on this company or what Tesla plans to do with them.
Some interesting things about this one is that they claim 94% efficiency at level 2 rates from 3.3 kilowatts to 11 kilowatts, and this might be what they do instead of the snake chargers, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah. So wireless inductive charging efficiencies have improved quite a bit over the last 15 years. Before that, they were horribly inefficient and generated a bunch of heat more than actually energy transfer. So that's great to see. If we didn't have that picture that you talked about, Mark, my suspicion would have been that this is for Optimus and that it has nothing to do with the cars. That's what I would be arguing. Except you have that picture, which makes me think they're at least thinking about it for sure.
In the garage while you're at work.
Yeah, and for fleet managers, one of the things that we heard repeatedly with the plug-in hybrids back in the days, there were fleets that were buying them because there were incentives for them, and then they were never plugging them in because they either didn't have the infrastructure or it was just a pain or they forgot. And wireless, just you put that in the parking spot and it just happens. So
you park in your assigned parking space, and as long as you don't park the wrong end of the car into the space, it'll take care of it.
Yeah. So I could see this being an option Maybe not standard, but something that they do offer.
It would also solve the problem that every EV has right now, where there's no emergency release once you're charging. So once nefarious people start to take advantage of that.
There are a couple products in the market today that would allow you to plug in an adapter as you plug into the supercharger, and it allows you to leave without getting into the car. So there's some people have worked on that, and there's a couple prototypes that are out there currently. So
nothing first party yet. This would do
right.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. This has some added safety in that area.
Well, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. We would really appreciate it. And press that subscribe. It helps us grow and gets us in front of more eyeballs, and that would be really appreciated. If you follow along the show and want to contribute, that's how you can. Helps us out immensely. With that, let's get some comments on the end. Mr. Green, what have you got for us this week to tell us about?
On Sunday at 1:10 p.m. Eastern over at youtube.com/Casey Green, I've got a chat. We will chat about all the latest green living, Tesla, EV, solar, whatever we want, and we'll have a blast.
Very good. We will join you then. Mr. Connor, what have you got for us as a wrap-up?
Well, besides my dog barking at the painters, which keeps interrupting the show, sorry about that. You can find me at carswithcords.net, where I will be blogging about all the stuff that I talked about, getting a new roof, how's that work with solar panels, the transfer of FSD. I'll, of course, start to be doing reviews of the Y as I get it. And I have to find a way to track battery degradation on the Y, because that's one thing I've been doing with the X since it was about a year old is when I got the TM Spy, which allowed me to collect battery data. In fact, I tried to collect some data just before I got rid of it, but I couldn't get it to connect to the Bluetooth dongle. The Bluetooth dongle had died. So I'm like, my car knows I'm getting rid of it. She's mad at me. And so I couldn't collect my final data, but I'll still do a 7-year wrap up on that. And so you'll find that at carswithcords.net. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Very good.
So
very good.
If you're comfortable with doing an API key, you can use my code for Teslafy or for Tesla Scope. And
yeah, so in the past, I've been reluctant to do that, but it's a key. You're not actually giving them your login and password.
Not anymore.
It's a revocable key. So I think that's way better than the old methods. So maybe I'll do that now. Yeah, let's talk about that. If I do, I will absolutely use your referral.
Okay. And if you do use my referral, I'll give you an extended trial as well, rather than 1 week you get 2.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that. How much does it cost and all that? The reason I liked the TM Spy was it was a few bucks for the app and a few bucks for the dongle, and that was it. I didn't have to pay monthly. I hate subscriptions.
If you kept your Bluetooth, then you just have to get a new cable set for the Y, and then look up the instructions. It's more detailed on the Y because you got to shut it down first, unlike our X where you could just pop it into the OB2 port. Well, not OB2 port, but the internal under the screen port.
Yeah,
but it works the same way.
So are you saying TM Spy works on the Y?
Yeah. On mine there was a drop down that said, is this a Y or a 3? And if it was S or an X, is it the new one or the old one?
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I'll probably just do that instead. But yeah, that's yeah, okay, cool. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Please come back next Wednesday. And until then, when we'll get together and see what's happening in the Tesla life. Thanks to Lee Nameen for the music we use. And everyone have a great week.
Stay positive, test negative.